format, which includes the animal being non-haltered in the show ring. Livestock presented must be non-fitted, no adhesives, glues, or artificial coloring, and are not required to be clipped. Recipients may wash and dry the animals if desired. Scoring is based on the following. 50% is in presentation. They'll each give a 2 to 5 minute speech to the judges and the audience while the cattle are exhibited in the show ring. Skills assessed are communication, marketing, and program development planning. 25% is on showmanship, the ability to present the animal to the crowd and the judges in an effective manner, and 25% on phenotype. Judges score cattle on appearance, structural soundness, and industry purpose. Each exhibitor will receive $75 and a vest for participating. Payout will be split as follows. They're splitting $1,250 to the top four. First is going to get $500, second $375, third $250, and fourth place $125. We are going to be having our NILE Calcutta at 2:30. If you want to partake in that Calcutta, I've got great news. This is for the Merit Heifers. Our Merit Heifer Calcutta at 2:30. You can get your Calcutta tickets right over here to my right. There's a table set up over there. Get your Calcutta tickets bought. Your buyer numbers. Great Scott. Had a mild stroke there. Get your buyer number. And then we will have our Calcutta at 2:30 for our Merit Heifers. I believe that I see our final judge making his way into the F-150 show ring. Going to get everybody on the ground here and on the same page, and then we're going to get it underway. It is time to get it underway. Welcome, everybody, to the Progeny Pin Parade. We are going to get it started. Just for your information, our extremely capable judges this morning from Tomball, Texas, Jeremy Vitor, from Chapel, Nebraska, Dustin Frank, and from just down the road in Miles City, Montana, Mr. Todd Jones. And with that, we are going to welcome in our first showman. This is Walla Walla, Washington, tag number Taryn Cox is where we're at. Taryn Cox, Walla Walla, Washington. And just so you know, as showmen and showwomen, as you're aware, you're to give a 2 to 5 minute speech on your project to our judges and to the crowd. I'm not going to be real harsh on you. I will let you know when you hit 5 minutes, and you can kind of wind it down from there. And with that, we are going to get you a microphone, and we'll turn it over to you.
Hi, my name is Taryn Cox. I am from Walla Walla, Washington. I am currently a freshman at Kansas State University. I am studying agricultural communications and journalism with a minor in agriculture economics and a specialty in pre-law. After I graduate from Kansas State University, I have plans to go to law school. And after law school, I would like to return to the Pacific Northwest and pursue a career in legal advocacy for the agriculture industry. I was part of the Merit Heifer program in 2021. My donors were Alan and Leslie Alexander of Hangin' A Cattle Company, and this is my Merit Heifer Belle in her steer calf. So when we fill out the application for the NILE Merit Heifer, you get to choose the 3 breeds that you would like to have if you were to be granted a NILE Merit Heifer. And so I asked around, I was like, what do you guys think I should choose? And pretty much the consensus was not Charolais because they're white and they take a long time to clean and a lot of them have attitude issues. And honestly, Belle could not have lived up to that notion any better. She was pretty difficult. She had quite the attitude problem. I jackpotted her quite a bit. I took her to my county fair, and at every single show I went to, she did not want to be in the ring. She kind of drugged me around it. But by the time we got to the NILE in 2021, she had pretty much got it all out of her system. And we went on to win Reserve Champion Merit Heifer, and we got 4th in showmanship. Now, winning Reserve Champion Merit Heifer was a pretty special deal for me, not only because I was super proud of the work that I had done with Belle, but because one of my donors, Leslie Alexander, had passed away in April of 2021, only a few short months after her and Alan had donated Belle to me. Now, if you knew Leslie, you knew that she was a go-getter, and you knew that she wanted juniors to succeed. When I went out to pick Belle out of a pen, they had quite a few cattle. They had about 10 heifers that I could choose from, and Leslie had printed out all the EPDs on every single heifer. She knew their parentage lines. She was just really put together, and she wanted to see me succeed. So winning NILE Merit, or Reserve Champion NILE Merit Heifer, was really a really special way for me to honor Leslie. Now, I bred Belle to CCC Resurrection, which is a bull that Alan and Leslie co-owned with Cody Cattle Company. Belle was confirmed bred to come to the NILE in 2021. However, she aborted that calf in December of 2021. So I did not rebreed Belle until the spring of 2022, and I rebred her to CCC Resurrection, and this is her calf out of him. So she had a bull calf, and I decided to make him a steer because I just don't quite have the market to sell a bull right now. My Charolais herd isn't big enough to need a bull. I'm pretty good with AIing. And so I made him a steer because I do have a market for steers for my local county fair. My brother will actually end up taking him to our county fair in August. And so I bred Belle this spring to CML Rain Dance, which is another bull that Hangin' A co-owns with some people up in Canada. Now, if Belle were to have a heifer, I would be very, very happy, because I would keep that heifer and I would show her and retain her in my Charolais herd because I am trying to grow it. If she were to have another bull calf, I would most likely end up cutting him and I would sell him to a local 4-H or FFA kid. Now, the NILE Merit Heifer program has given me some of the most amazing connections and people that I have in my life thus far. Alan Alexander is still one of my biggest supporters in the cattle industry to date. I bought a pair from Alan last spring, and I showed that calf here last year, and I brought her back this year as a bred heifer, and she ended up winning reserve champion in her division in both the open and junior show. I showed the heifer calf out of the cow that I got this year, and she placed very well in a pretty deep class of 9.
Taryn, that is 5 minutes if you wind it down.
And another great thing that this Merit Heifer program has given me is connections with people outside of my donors. I've met the Tony family, and they have been some of my biggest mentors and supporters thus far. They've taken my Charlotte cattle to this show, hauled them for me for 2 years because I wasn't able to miss school. And Brett has acted as my mentor in picking cattle and the show industry, and it's been a really great thing for me. And not only do I have show industry connections, but this program taught me and gave me some really good lessons about the production industry. With Belle aborting her first calf, it was a tough lesson for me that life isn't always going to go how I expect it or how I want it. And so we just have to persevere and keep going. And I feel like I've came out of it on the other end pretty well. She has a pretty stellar steer calf that I'm excited to see perform at the county fair this next year. And so I really just wanted to take a moment to appreciate the program for giving me that real life industry experience aside from just the show experience. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Taryn, thank you very much. It does my heart good to see young people in this industry. And I am super happy for you that things have gone well for you, and I wish you the very best of luck in your collegiate and ensuing law career. Again, Taryn Cox, thank you very much for your presentation. Well done. Our judges will put their business to it, and we will welcome in our next presentation. This is Shayla Russell, of Absaroka, Montana.
Hi, my name is Shayla Russell, and I'm from Absaroka. I go to school at Absaroka High School, and I'm a senior this year. This is my pair I got from Walborn Cattle Co. Out of Hardin, Montana. I was a member of the 2022 Merit Heifer program. So this is Willow, and this is her calf Teak. So this is her very first calf. When I was choosing the bull for this heifer, since she was a heifer, I decided to choose a bull with low calving ease and good foot and udder conformation. So I chose Uno Moss. He's a purebred Simmental bull. I kind of wanted to get some of that hybrid vigor in my herd since she's an Angus cow. So being a percentage calf, she's kind of got some of the benefits of both of the breeds. Hey, come on. So this cow, I showed her at our county fair. She was grand champion overall heifer last year. And I took her back to the fair this year for a commercial progeny. And she is actually the highest ranking cow in the progeny right now. So I wanted to take a second, just thank my donors for donating this cow to me, and just encourage anybody that's interested in applying for the program to apply. There's a lot of things I learned from this program, mainly being I don't know as much as I thought I knew about the beef industry. And I got to make a lot of new contacts in the beef industry, learn about genetics and nutrition, and the importance of minerals and that kind of stuff. And don't pee on me. Hey. Hey. Yeah, so another good thing about this cow that I haven't noticed with a lot of my other heifers that I've shown is she's got really good under conformation and really good foot structure. But if there was something I could change about this cow, I'd maybe make her a little bit longer. She's really short-necked and maybe a little bit stouter. So this calf, she was a pretty good first experiment. She's pretty fine-boned, so when I go to pick out a bull to breed her to, I think I'm gonna get something with a little more depth, maybe a little more width, maybe some more bone. But overall, I'm really proud of this calf. And this cow has been a great mother. She milks really well. This calf is actually an April calf. She got coccidiosis when she was about 2 months old, so she's a little small, but she got through it really well, and I think she's growing really well, and I think she's got a lot of potential in her future. Yeah. Good.
Shayla, that does bring us to our 5-minute mark, and we certainly do thank you for your presentation here at the 2023 NILE. And again, Shayla, well done and thank you. That'll bring us to our third presenter. This is Alex Smea out of Belgrade, Montana.
Alexa Schmea, and I'm 16 years old. I'm from Belgrade, Montana. I was a Mare Heifer recipient for the 2020-2021 year, and my donor was Christensen Red Angus. They're a little excited, sorry. My heifer is named Isabel, or Izzy for short, and these are her progeny, Iris and Isaac. Both Izzy and Iris are currently bred to private stock and due to calve on January 7th. All three of my babies have accompanied me to the Big Sky Country State Fair this past July. Sorry. I showed Izzy and Isaac as a cow-calf pair, Isaac as a junior bull calf, and Iris as a bred heifer. We were a single entry with my cow-calf pair and Isaac, so we easily won our classes, but unfortunately lost out in the overall grand drive. Iris, on the other hand, placed third in the toughest class of heifers I have ever seen at my fair, so I am tremendously proud of her. Okay, we're gonna pause my blabbering for a minute, and I would like some audience participation, but with a show of hands, which of Izzy's progeny is gonna do better, Iris or Isaac? Iris or Isaac? Okay, thank you. Now I would like to thank Vince and Veronica Christensen for donating me my heifer. I have known the Christensen family for some time. Miss Veronica is one of the advisors for the Montana Junior Red Angus Association, and I've been a part of that membership for about 10 years. You can always count on the Christensen family. You can always count on the Christensen family for anything and everything. Mr. Vince is the type of guy that would give you the shirt off of his back if you asked. And not to mention the quality of cattle they raise is truly amazing. The Christensen family is as selfless as they come. So once again, I thank them. Having gone through the Merit Heifer program has better prepared me for my future, and not just one in agriculture. I gained skills in the areas of both interviewing and record keeping because of the extensive interview that was conducted, as well as the elaborate records that we were supposed to keep during our time in the actual program. Not to mention the daunting task of even just applying for such an opportunity. 3 letters of recommendation, an essay, a YouTube video, and so much more. This process can be very intimidating. I'm not gonna lie, I was intimidated. However, I will say that this should not stop anyone from applying. This is one of the most amazing programs I have ever been a part of. Not only are the people running this program trying to help young people reach for their dreams in the cattle industry, they're also trying to help encourage youth get into ag, which we all know is a dying breed. For this, I thank them. In today's day and age, teaching youth about ag has never been so important. Come on, girls. Farmers and ranchers comprise less than 2% of the US population, most of that percentage being family farms. One US farmer feeds approximately 166 people, both in the US and abroad. Women make up 36% of total farmers. 56% of all farms have at least one female decision maker. To most, these are just numbers. But to me, they're a sad reality. I have taken it upon myself to try to raise these numbers by becoming a female agriculturalist. It is expected to have a global population of 2.2 billion by the year 2050, which would mean farmers and ranchers need to increase production by over 70%. So using the skills I have gained in the Mare Heifer program, I plan to get a degree in ag communications or agricultural education. But until then, I strive to learn, grow, and encourage others to do the same. I will continue to find programs that specialize in ag education for youth and do my part in educating future generations of the importance of not only ag, but the beef industry. This is why I thank the Merit Heifer program and programs such as it for starting this process. In conclusion, this is truly one of the most amazing programs I have ever been a part of. I thank the Merit Heifer program, the NILE, and the Christensen Red Angus again. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I would not be where I am today without you. Thank you.
Alex, thank you and congratulations on a very impressive entry that you brought to us right there. Like I say, it is always so encouraging to me to see young people in the ag industry. I've said before, and I will say again, one of the biggest problems that we have in our world today is that there are way too many people that are more than one generation away from ag. It would be an entirely different world if we had more and more kids in and around the ag business. Again, Alex, thank you very much for an outstanding presentation. We are going to move to our final entry right here. This is Alyssa Thormelin of Bridger, Montana.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alyssa Thormelin, and I was a part of the 2019 Merit Heifer class. My donor was based in Angus. The cow standing here is based in Lucy 8079, aka Dolly. She has given me 4 calves since I received her. Her first calf was a beautiful heifer calf that is actually standing at home, bred for a February calf. Her second calf, so it doesn't squeal, was a steer calf Teton. I took him and Dolly as a cow-calf pair at the Carbon County Fair. And then I took him and her again for the Progeny pen here at the NILE. Following that, my brother took him as a market steer at the Carbon County Fair, where he ranked 3rd in the market steer class and then received a rating of Prime Plus in the ultrasound competition. The next year, Dolly gave me a steer calf that I sold with our commercial calves at home. And this year, she has a bull calf standing at side, which is Basin Iconic 3003. Now, my cattle program began with completely commercial cattle. And after I received Dolly, I then kept her first calf heifer, and I decided that I'm going to switch over to registered Black Angus. Following that, I purchased 2 Vermilion cattle at their fall sale last year. Therefore, I have now doubled my registered Angus herd. I also decided to breed my cattle back to Vermilion AI sires. Dolly is confirmed bred to SAV Glory Days. Now, my future plans for this program is continue to show these cattle. I'd like to be able to raise heifer calves that I can show at the NILE Female Angus sale and sell. I'd like to raise steer calves that I can show and sell to local county kids, and I'd like them to be competitive on a commercial market. Now, the Merit Heifer program opened a lot of doors for me. One of the most important in my eyes is the AI program. Gen X taught us all about it through our conference calls. Following that, I went on to get AI technician certified through Select Sires. This year, I AI'd my own cows, and most of them took. This program also taught me about EPDs, genetics, and feeding programs to get my cows to the best they can be. Along with that, the connections this program gave me allowed me to connect with other producers, the ag industry, and one of my favorites, other recipients. Along the road, even in this here barn, I've met recipients that I didn't know received a heifer until I sat down and talked with them and talked about their program, where they've come from then. Now, my program has a lot of positives. I know that all of my cows have strong maternal characteristics and can wean me some big calves. Ultimately, my calves' conformation has improved since receiving Dolly and going through this program. I've had competitive calves in the commercial show ring as well as through the commercial market. Now, to improve my herd, I would like my calves to be competitive in a registered Black Angus show. So I know I need a little bit bigger frame, I need some hair in my calves, and I need to push a little more grain, clean them up in the front end as well. But ultimately, I want a production cow that's gonna go out there and produce me some big calves, which Dolly has done successfully and will continue to do for me for years to come. Now, I wanna say a huge thank you to Basin Angus for donating me my cow, to Gen X, to the NILE Merit Heifer program as a whole. Special thanks to Shelby Shaw for putting up with all of us recipients and our endless questions. My family that has been by my side through the application, through coming here every year. All the people that helped with conference calls and helped make sure that we knew how to take care of these cattle and how we could have connections and continue to grow our herds. Special thank you to all the other donors as well that make this program possible. And to everyone here in the stands that support us each and every year. So, thank you guys.
Alyssa, thank you very much again for your excellent presentation. What we're going to have you do, if you would please, we'll have you, all of our presenters here, Taryn, Shayla, Alexa, and Alyssa, if you would please put your cattle away and then come back into the show ring. We're going to have a little conversation between you and our judges, maybe get some questions asked, get some questions answered, etc. So if you would please, we are going to welcome back all of our presenters, less their cattle. Couple of things that I want to make you aware of while we're getting the cattle put up and bringing our kids back in. We are going to have our Merit Heifer Calcutta at 2:30. You'll want to get your bid number for that auction. That they are available right now, just down here at the table to my right. A couple ladies sitting down there that will get you all squared away and taken care of so that you can bid in the Calcutta tonight. And secondly, as the girls come back in, we are going to be having a ranch rodeo kickoff party and concert tonight up at the First Interstate Arena. Exit 53 is going to be playing. They're an outstanding band. You do need to get tickets for that one. You can get tickets online or at Metro Park or at the box office.
So I asked Shelby if we could bring the young ladies back to ask them questions. And the first question I'm going to ask, you're not going to be surprised when I ask this, Shelby. Where's all the boys? Come on, guys. I know there's some of you back in the barn that, you ought to be up here. Here's my question, and I'll let each of you answer the same question. And I guess that's probably a little bit unfair, but I couldn't come up with 4 different questions. if you encounter or come across someone in a metropolitan setting, maybe you're flying somewhere, maybe you're at school, you're at the grocery store, whatever, however, okay, and they're a vegan and they are anti-agriculture, and you have the opportunity to have a conversation with that person, how would you have that conversation? What might you address with that person about why should they not be anti-agriculture or anti the beef industry?
So, kind of a funny story. I am actually a rodeo queen as well, so this is a question that's actually come up before. So, a lot of times people believe that there's a lot of abuse or neglect with our farm animals. First thing I'd like to do is invite them to come over. Come see my animals, come see my herd. Talk to them about the times you spent in the barn. Not only with your show calves, but out there with sick calves, how many sleepless nights there's been, how close you get to those animals, and ultimately, these animals are your family. They're your livelihood. To abuse them, to neglect them, to lose an animal, it's not only hard financially. You get a connection with these cows as you raise them, you raise their family. It does pull on your heartstrings to lose a cow. Whether it's one you've had for a year, or one you've raised from birth and she's 10 years old and becomes ill. These cattle are our livelihood, and they are also our family.
I think the most important part when we encounter people that have vastly different ideas and ideologies from us is we need to find a common ground. Not only do we need to find common ground, but we need to be able to respect their opinions, even if we don't understand them. So how I would go about that is I would say, I really appreciate your concern for the animals, for how animals are treated, how we doctor cattle. I appreciate your want for humane slaughter, for FDA-approved meat consumption. And then I would go on to explain that cattle are carbon recyclers as well. So if they're going to be concerned about climate change, we can explain that cattle are carbon recyclers. We can explain how important rangeland management is and pasture rotation is and how good that is for the environment itself. And then we can go on to explain that, look, like our cattle are what drive us in life. They are what make us money. They are what builds us connections, and we have connections with people far-reaching, not only in our states, but all across the country into other countries. And it doesn't make economical sense, first of all, to abuse animals or lose our cattle, because that's how we make our money. That we can't feed our families if we're not feeding you and other families. And so we need to find a common ground and say, look, like we both want to treat our animals well. We both want this. And just respect and understanding is what's going to get us a lot further.
I think that if somebody who says they're a vegan comes and experiences working on a ranch and the joys of being able to be around cattle every day like I have, and be around all kinds of animals like I get to. My mom's a vet, so I get to help her all the time, go around to ranches, not only see cattle, but see lambs and goats and occasionally the pig or two. But if they get to experience that kind of life, they don't think that, oh, my meat just comes from the store. Like, they know the source of where it's coming from, and they can see why some things we do are done that way, like vaccinations. And maybe even you could find that common ground like Taryn was talking about, and find a better way to do things if they're on your side, and you work together towards something instead of just fighting about not treating animals how somebody thinks somebody else should treat them. Because in the end, they are ending up on a plate, but it's for the benefit of everybody.
If I were to come across a vegan in such a metropolitan area, I would definitely want to, as the previous speaker said, be as respectful as possible, because that is the way anything is accomplished. But the first thing that I would ask is, why did you become vegan? How long have you been vegan? And get to know why. Because if they tell us, oh, I had a traumatic problem with a cow, or my steak was wrong, or something like that, then I would be able to help work through their problem with them and explain, oh, I am so sorry that happened. That should not ever happen. And if you would like, you can come out to my farm sometime and see how my cattle are raised, and I can connect you with any of my associates to get a similar idea as well. So I definitely want to understand their past, if this is something they're allowing to share, because not everyone does, and we need to respect that. But this is how I would go about starting out, is you have to pull the weed by the root.
Thank you, young ladies. I think all of us here should be in a great debt to you of the work you've done on this program. You guys have all done a great job with your animals. My question, as I look at the Montana Stock Growers Association sign over there, of which I'm a member, we, along with basically any other ag organization out there, are desperately in need of more good, high-quality young people like yourselves. And so my question is, what have you done, or what can you do to encourage more young people to get involved and get off of cell phones and gaming and those kind of things, and get back into agriculture and make a contribution to an industry that desperately needs young people such as yourselves? I'll start down here.
Thank you. To go about getting more young people in agriculture, I would definitely recommend programs such as the NILE program. The FFA and 4-H are also great starting stops. Something that's very unique to my county is we do a Gallant County Farm Fair, and I have been the presenter, unfortunately, for the pigs rather than the cows, but we'll make do. But I take approximately 1,200 to 1,400 fourth graders over about 3 to 4 days, and they cycle through 16 rotations on a farm of different farm products. There's swine, there's swine and porcine, excuse me. There's swine, there's bovine, there's horses, there's a hayride, all sorts of this, and you can just see certain kids absolutely light up at this opportunity. So that is the most important starting for me. But as I said in my speech, I am planning to get a degree in agricultural communications or agricultural education myself, and find more ways to pursue getting even younger kids up in the agricultural industry to prevent this industry from dying.
So I think that to get more kids involved in agricultural opportunities, personally, I think that, we can use social media and that kind of stuff for good. When you go to a show, you post about it, obviously, but you get all your friends involved, bring them to shows, show them what it's like. You see the little kid wanting to watch you, help you out, let them help you out, even if it's just picking out your stall. I had a kid last year at fair. He's like 6 years old. He came up to me while I was working with my heifers, and he saw that shovel laying there by my stall, and he just wanted to help me clean out my stalls. So I let him pick up a shovel, and a couple more kids walked past, and they were all like, hey, that looks cool. That's a cool kid. He's doing something cool. So they came over and helped me out with that. And just to see all the kids getting involved, just trying to put them into an agricultural setting. I also help my mom every year. We go to our little elementary school in Absorki, and we bring her mini Jersey cow in there and let the little kids milk her, and we showed off the bull calf this year, and they just love that kind of thing. And when they're really young, it seems to help to expose them to ag at that age, because then they haven't formatted their own opinions yet on things that they don't really know that much about yet. So I think it's a great opportunity to get it in their minds early and help keep them in ag.
There's 2 ways that we're going to get more young kids involved in agriculture. One is through social media, because kids are on their phones. And 2 is through changing our attitudes. Social media. kids are on it. We need to be positive advocates for agriculture. We need, a lot of times, I think agriculturists and the old guys out in the crowd, they're not gonna wanna be on TikTok. They're not out there in the pasture TikToking their cows. So it's up to us to do that because we know how, we have the resources, and we have the want. And putting positive and correct information out into the media is how we're going to get more kids involved and more interest in agriculture in general. Second is attitude. When I'm working cattle with my dad or my family, I don't want to get yelled at, and they don't want to get yelled at by me. And at stock shows, if we're all yelling at each other, go get me my halter, go do this, and someone walks by, they're going to be like, oh no, I am not doing that. Not for me. But if we can be positive and happy, and I know tensions get high, I know this is a stressful situation, but we're all here because we like to be here. We're here because we want to be here. And by fostering a more positive and encouraging attitude with others, our family, our friends, the people who help us, the people who are here for us, that's how we're going to get more people involved because they're going to see that it's a positive opportunity for them.
So I'm going to kind of piggyback off of them a little bit. As a teacher, it is important to get it in our school systems as well. Take the kids out, let them come to the NILE, let them see the animals. Or for example, last year I took my school that I'm teaching at, and they all came out to my sheep barn. They got to see the lambs. I've heard about it since. Almost every day of the week, I hear about my sheep one time or another. The youth development events, letting the kids see the agriculture and not always through a screen. Social media is a huge aspect that we do need to utilize, but letting them be there, see the animals, let them experience it, talk about it. That's one of the biggest things I think a lot of people forget about. Talk about it. If you're out and there's someone there and they ask you a question, talk about it, go into depth. Don't rub someone off. If you're at a stock show, even if you're at a cattle sale, and there's a little kid and they're asking questions, be there to support them. There's some of these kids that, for example, this might be their first show. Their county show might be their first show. Don't discourage them. Be there for them. Ask them, if they're struggling, ask if you can help. Say, I've done this, here's how I can help. It is one of the worst things you can see for someone who gets into agriculture and they spend 1 year in it and it's been all discouraging. It happens, we have bad years. As agriculturalists, we lose calves. We lose animals, it happens, but to be there and encourage the people that have started and to be there through social media and through youth development and show people what ag really is. Like she said, we need the truth out there. There's a lot of lies and a lot of things that people don't get to see the truth behind agriculture. So we have to be the ones that make sure it's said and make sure it's known.
It's a tough act to follow there, guys. These young ladies are extremely sharp, and I'm very impressed with your answers that you guys have given us. We'll end on a little lighter note. I just want to know, it seems like everything that we do in life, you kind of have that aha moment, where you learn a lesson and you carry it with you for the rest of your life. I want to know, and it may pertain to beef cattle production, and it may just pertain to everyday life, but what lesson have you guys learned through this Merit Heifer program that you'll carry with you for the rest of your life?
So one of the biggest things I learned is listen. Because we have these conference calls that taught us this information. If you're not listening, you're not receiving. Be open to receiving other people's information. Just because you've done it that way for generations, your family's raised cattle this way, doesn't mean don't try this. Make sure you're listening and you're receptive.
I was told last night, actually, it's good to know people. And that is true. That's what this program has given me. This program has given me people to know. It's given me connections in the Red Angus industry, the Charolais industry, the show industry in general, and the production industry. And I think that's the best part about this program, and I think that's one of the main messages that I want to send, is that it's good to know people, and that's what this program has done for me.
I'd like to start off by saying that I don't like being told that I'm wrong. So this program has really showed me a lot of things about that I don't actually know everything. kind of like I mentioned when I had my pair in here, I don't know everything about the cattle industry. And so when I started this program, I kind of came in thinking that I knew a little bit more than everybody else, and that's not true. We went to all those conference calls, and I learned a lot more than I knew before. And I think it's just good to keep an open mind and maybe not think that you know everything when you go into something new. And I don't know, it was just very, very beneficial for me to be able to meet a whole bunch of new people, have them tell me what they know about the cattle industry, and like she said, great connections when you're actually getting out of your shell and listening to what people have to say.
Thank you. That was really good. Definitely going to have to say that you have to be adaptable and respectable all at the same time. You have to be able to adapt to other people's preferences. Like, you have to understand that even though you think your animal is the best, the judge may not always think so. So you have to be adaptable, but you have to do it with grace and respect. Just because one judge says this and another judge says that doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's all opinion with judges. So you have to be able to understand that, yes, I agree with this. However, this is my opinion, and leave it at that. You don't want to go up and storm a judge or absolutely lose your temper because you disagree. So definitely adapt to surroundings and do it with respect.
Nice job, girls. We're really impressed meeting you guys, and you guys have done a great job with your Heifer Merit program here, and it's really fun to see you guys bring those calves back out here and see you take the next step in your breeding program. So my hat's off to you all. I don't know if anybody else has anything to say. Shelby, it's a great event. I'm really proud of what you're doing here. So one more time, give those girls a big hand, and we'll get our sheets turned in.
Young ladies, thank you again for your presentations today. It is a pleasure to see a little bit of what is right in the world in front of us here today. We are just about 30 minutes away, just about 25 minutes away from our Merit Heifer show. We will be having a Calcutta, as I said before, so make sure that you get your bid numbers right over here at the table that's off to my right. Pick up your bid numbers there so that you can partake in the Calcutta. Might turn out to be a remarkably profitable move for you. And again, we will come back with our Merit Heifer show at 2:30, and we will give our awards following that Merit Heifer show. So kind of bear that in mind. The awards will be coming following the Merit Heifer show. We are 10 minutes away from our Merit Heifer show. If you haven't got your bid number for the Calcutta, please get that done ASAP. And don't forget that tonight up in the Metro at 7 o'clock, we are having a Ranch Rodeo kickoff party with Exit 53. If you haven't heard Exit 53, believe me, you want to. They're an outstanding band. They're going to be playing up at 7 o'clock. We're coming back in 10 minutes. These ones right here. These ones right here. We're going to get them in. We're going to get into our Calcutta right here. So if we could start getting all of our bovine participants into the arena, please. Kate Anderson of Riverton, Wyoming with Hahn Cattle Company. If you can just start making your way into the ring. If you are in this 2023 Merit Heifer Recipient Program, you don't have to wait for me to call your name. You can just come right on in. Kate Anderson of Riverton, Wyoming. The donor there was Hahn Cattle Company, also of Riverton, Wyoming. Violet Browning of Livingston, Montana. Clumping Red Angus of Manhattan, Montana was the donor there. Garrett Burkett of Evansville, Wyoming. Sidwell Ranch of Columbus, Montana was the donor there. Hadley Cooper of Powell, Wyoming. Basin Angus of Joliet, his donor. Go ahead and come right on in. And Kate Cordell of Cheney, Washington. Horseshoe Angus Ranch, their donor. Adeline Alvarud of Ritchie, Montana. Demert Ranch Herefords of Lothier, Montana were the donors there. Madison Flowers of Shepherd, Montana. 333 Cattle of Byers, Colorado was the donor there. Brianna Hollingsworth of Cheyenne, Wyoming. And Quarter Circle Livestock of Laramie was their donor. Hella Houston of Wheatland, Wyoming. Rutted Red Angus of Hysham, Montana, the donor. Asha Jerky of Clyde Park, Montana. Prickly Pear Simmental of Helena, Montana, the donor. Hadley Couts of Huntley, Montana. HC Cattle Company of Columbus, the donor. Wade Kramer of Columbus, Montana. Clark's Fork, Angus, and Simmental of Edgar, the donor there. Jerome Lip of Newcastle, Wyoming. Maple Leaf Cattle of Shoshone, the donor. Jaden Martin of Lewistown, Montana. Christensen Red Angus of Park City, the donor. Weston Meneses of Phillipsburg, Montana. Angelo Cattle Company of Drummond, Montana, the donor. Jordan Paul of Ismay, Montana. Walburn Cattle Company of Hardin, Montana, the donor. Quentin Perkins of Deer Lodge, Montana, the donor to Bar Ranch of Deer Lodge. Samantha Prouty of Corning, California. TM Livestock of Princeton, California, the donor. Wiley Simonson of Chinook, Montana. Hilltop Angus of Denton, Montana, the donor. Tia Venice of Wilsaw, Montana. And 3C Cattle Company of Stevensville, Montana, the donor. Chloe Wardell of Sheridan, Wyoming. And Barry Landon Livestock of Vida, Montana, her donor. And Hunter Wilson of Arlington, Oregon. Spokane Hutterian Brotherhood of Reardon, Washington, the donors there. We are going to Calcutta these heifers off. You'll get to pick on the first three. The first three are going to be choice, and then we'll just start at the top and go to the bottom. Mr. Greg Goggins is going to be our auctioneer here this afternoon. And with that, I believe I'm just going to turn it over to Greg.
All right, perfect. We're going to choice them 3 times. Is that right, Doug? We're going to choice them to you 3 times. You get to pick. We'll do the first 3, and then from there we'll go alphabetically down the list. Choice them to you 3 times. There's some fancy heifers out there. Somebody give me $2,000 on a choice. Give me $2,000 there too. 500, 600, and nobody get that. Nobody get that 607. Nobody get that. Nobody get that. 708. Nobody get that. 800. 800 and 900. Nobody get that. Nobody get that. 900 down 10. And match her out 10. Nobody get that. $1,000. Nobody get that. Nobody get that. 10. Nobody get that. $10,000. We're going to choice them 3. Now 11. Now 12, now 1200, 11, Matthew, now 1200, now 12, now 13, 1300, 13, you better take over 1300, 13, Duggar out 1300 there, now they're gonna pick the one you want, now $1,300 there, now 13. So the $1,200, Matt, 90. Which one do they want? What, number 4? Basin? Well, hold on. Is that the one they want? You want the basin heifer? Oh, you want the Hereford heifer? I didn't think you wanted you want the Sidwell heifer. Okay, the Sidwell heifer's gone. Matt, you got to know who you're dealing with back there. All right, we'll choice him again. Right here, choice him again. 500, 600. And 800, 800, 900, down 10. And 10, $1,000, down 10, 11. And 10, 11, 11, Derek, you're out. 1100. And 10, 11, 11. Jay, what about you? Now 1100. 11, got the ring men stacked up in here. Now 1100. And 10, 11, Matt, anybody else? Now $1,100 there. Now 11. I sold it. $1,000, 1,000. They'll take the 61's a buyer. You want the basin heifer? All right, the basin heifer is gone. All right, this is the last choice, and then we're going to sell them in order. Last choice, and then we'll say them in order. 500, 600, 500, now 800, and 8, now 9, now 10, and 10, Jagger out, $1,000, 10, now 1100, and 10, 11, Derek out, 1100, now 11, now Matthew, now $1,100 there, now 11. I sold her $1,000, 1,000, and the buyer number is 69, and what was the other one? 85. Which heifer would they like? Redland? They'd like the Redland Red Angus, is that right? Okay. So she goes out. All right, now we're going to start with 2-bar. 2-bar ranch heifer. Can the 2-bar heifer go right out in the middle while we're selling her? Is it the red heifer right there? Is that right? The red heifer. We're going to sell you the 2-bar ranch right there. Sell you the 2-bar ranch, 200, 300. Give me $100. Down 2. And down 150. 150. Match, you got to be 150. 50 now $150 there. Now 150. Sold at $100. 192's the buyer. 92's the buyer. Okay, now we're going to sell the 3C Cattle Company. This big, wow, look at her. 3C, look at her. Give me $1,500 for her. Give me $1,500 there, 15. I like her. 500, 600. You got to be 7. And now 700. Derek her out. 700. And 7. 7 now 7 now 8. And now 800. There's a beautiful cow. 800. And 800. $800 there. Now 800. I sold her $700. 700. Buyer number 71. 71. Okay. Now we can go with the Angelo Cattle Company, please. All right, Angelo, the Red Angus heifer, is that right? There it is. Sell the red Angus heifer down 200, 300. 200, 300. Is that you? Down 300, 400. Down 400. Selling that red heifer in the middle. $400 there. Down $400 there. Down 4. Sold her $300, 300. And the buyer number 84. Thank you. The basin heifer's gone. We're going to go to berry land and livestock. Berry land and livestock, the Hereford heifer. Yes, her beautiful Hereford heifer calf right there, like her right there, 1,200. 200, 300, down 4, and 400, 4 to 5, and 500, down 6, and 7, down 7, and 7, she fancy, down 700, down 700 there, Jay, what do you say, 700, $700 there, down 7, sold her, $600, 600. 94 is the buyer. Good eye right there. 94. Huh? No, I'm just between the two of you. I got it right back there. You got to be 700 if you want to do it. I don't want to make that mad. Okay, he's got to be 800. How about 750, Jay? Tell that guy he's been around an auction long enough. He knows how it works. 750. He said no. I made him mad. All right. It happens, Kurt. Christensen Red Angus. All right. Christian, she's tired. Red Angus heifer, 200, 300. 200. Give me $100. Down 5. Down 200. Down 300. 3. 203. $300 there. Down 3. Down 300. I sold her $200. 200. And your buyer number? 83. 83. Okay. All right, now we need the Clark's Fork Angus and Simmental. Wow. Look at her, 2004. I can pay $2,000 there too. 300, 400. I like her, 400. And 300, 400. Give me 200. Got $100 down 2. And down 200. Down. How about 150? And down 150. And down 200. Down 2. Now 250. And turn 50. And 300. Down half. And down 3.5. You're on the back. 3.5. And 350. Down 400. Down 4. Down Jay, you're out. 400, now 4.5, and 500, and 500, Jay, you're out, 500, and now $500 there, now 550, and 600, and now $600 there, now 6, and now 600. I already got a half. You got to be 600. You want to be 575? Did you say yes? Now 600. Now 6 1/4. Is that how we sell semen now? 6 1/4. And 625 1/4. Now did you do it? Now 625 1/4 sold it. $600. 600 and the buyer. 76. 76. What is that? Demert. Hereford Ranch, please. All right, tell you the Demurred heifer right here. Hereford heifer, 200 ham, and 200 now ham, 150 now, 150 now, $150 huh, and now 150, 150 now, I got 100 bid now ham, 100 now, 150, $150 there now 150. I sold her $100, put them on 92. $100, buyer 92. All right, now we need the Houghton Cattle Company, please. Boy, she fancy. Look at her. Down 2004. Give me $2,000 here. 200, 300, and 200, and $200. $100 now. 150. 100. 150. 150. No, I got $100 bid. I need 150 to go. And now 150. 100. Derek, you got anything going on over there? 150. 100. 150 now, and now 150. I sold her $100, 100, buyer number 92, 92. HC Cattle Company. HC right there, pretty good pilot right there, 150, 200, and 200, now I got 200 bid, 2.5, now and 250, and 250, now and 2.5, $250 now 250. Sold her $200, 200, and that buyer number is 75, 75, thank you. I don't know what happened over there. I don't either. All right, Hilltop Angus, please. Wow. Look at her, Hilltop Angus. Did we lose it? Is it on? Sell her and look at her. 1,500 for her. I can pay 1,500. Where's he at? 1,500. And down 5, 600. I'm hooked up to those big ones over there. 5, 600. 500. 200. 300. And 3 Derek around 3.5, 4. 400. 500. 600. And 7. Now 800. And 800. How about 750 for God's sake? 750. Now, did you do it? Now 800. Hey, now 8.5. Now 8.5. And 8.5. Now 8.5. Now 9. And down 900. Now we're getting a lot louder. Now 900. Now 950. And J boy, you're out. 950. And 950. $950 there. Now 950. I sold her $900. 900 and the buyer 82. Okay, now we're going to go to Clumpian Red Angus. Oh, we did? Horseshoe, I'm sorry. Horseshoe. All right. Horseshoe Angus Ranch, right there, good heifer. And down 5, 600. I like her, 500, 600. And 200, and 300. And 3, I like that heifer, 300. And 3, down hell, and 3 down 4, down hell, and 4, 500, down 500, down hell, and 500, she might be the business boys, 500. 550 now 600 and 600 now 650 and 600 best 600 you ever spent 6.5 and 600 650 now 6.5. I sold her $600 600. Is that 69 and 85? 69 and 85. All right, now we're on the Clumpian Red Angus. So the Red Angus heifer, right there, good Red Angus heifer, right there, 2 and 250, and 250, and 250, and 250, and 300, and see what you get done, 3.5, and 350, now 4, again, 4.5, 5, and 500, and 500, and match around 500, and 500 there, now 500. Sold her $450, $450, and that buyer number is 62. 62. All right, now we got the maple leaf right in front of me. Maple leaf right there, now good Angus Heifer, and 2.5, and everybody now, and everybody get a hand, and everybody hand, and everybody now have 100, now have 150, now and everybody get a hand, 100, hand, 100, now and now 150, 100, get a hand, 100, nobody get a hand, 100, get a hand, and now how about $100? $100 now what? Did you do it? Now 150, now 200, now 2.5, and now 250, now cowboy, $2.5, $250 there, now 250. I told her $200, 200, and that buyer number is. Oh, hold on, Matt, we got a problem. Mr. Flowers, you got to be 300. How about 275? Are you sure? Huh? You're always a pretty good bidder. 275? No, not today. Okay. 88's the buyer. I'm sorry. 250, buyer 88. Prickly pear Simmental. Who's got that one? Okay. Simmental Heifer, right there, down 200 how, and nobody can hand, nobody can hand, no hand, 250, no hand, no hand, how about $100? How one, and how half, how two, and how 200, how 30, but with the 2.5, and nobody can hand, no hand, 250, no hand, no hand, now 250, $250 there, no hand, now 2.5. I sold her $200, 200, 88, same way. Quarter circle livestock. Right here or in the blue? Okay. Boy, nice heifer right there. Quarter circle livestock right there. 2.5. And nobody can hand, nobody can hand, 250 down, nobody can hand, give me 200 down 2, and $200 down 30. Nobody get 2. How about 100? And down 1. I want nobody get 150, 200. Somebody's got to be 200. Did you do it? Now 2.5. You might have a future in this, Jay. Now 2.5. And if things don't work out, down 2.5. They're now 250. Now 250. Now 2.5. Sold her $200. 64 is the buyer. 64. Redland Red Angus is gone. Sidwell's gone. Spokane. Hunter and Brotherhood. Right here. Nice Angus Heifer right there now 150, 200, and 200. I like her too. 200 and 200. And $200. Get a mama cow. 200 and 200. Give me 100, 150, 150, 200. You gotta be 200. Now 250. Dwayne, 250. You're out of money. Well, you're not going to make it in this world. 2.5. They're no hand, 250. No hand, they're no hand, 250. No hand, sold it. $200. 200 in the buyer. 74. Thank you, Shane. 74. TM Livestock. Right here in the striped shirt. Okay. All right, so the Angus Heifer right here now 150, 200, and TM Livestock, $100 now. Give me $100 now. And now 100, $100 there. And now 100, now 2, and God bless you. Now 150, 150. I'll split it with you. 100 there now have 150. Sold her $100. Buyer number 92. $100. Buyer 92. 333 cattle. That is one ripping good Charlotte heifer there, young lady. That's a good one there. Somebody give me 2,000 for. There's a good one. Give me $2,000 there too. 500, 600. Down 9, down 900, down 10, down 11, down 12, down 1200, down 13, and 30,000. She's as good as walk outdoors, boys, right there. 1,300, 1,400, down 14, 13, 40, 13. Ask Becky, quit asking him. 13, 14, 40, 20. How about 13 and a half? 13 and a half. 13 and a half, 13 and a half, $1,350 there. It's quite the pot if you haven't been writing them down. 13 and a half, 13 and a half, down 14, and down 1,400. Now half, 14 and a half, 14 and a half, 14 and a half, down 14 and a half. Just might have to bring the calves to town a little earlier. 14 and a half, 14 and a half, eyes holder, $1,400. 74, good eye right there, 1,400. All right, now your last opportunity is the Walburn heifer. Right here, Walburns, and 2.5, and 250, now, 250, 100, now, 150, 150. How about $100? 150. Is that you? 150. Now, Matt, you scanning that crowd. 150, now, have 1.5 there, now, have 150. Sold her $100, Dwayne's way 100, and the buyer is 78. Thanks. Now what do we got to do now? Oh, do you know that you got that on your sheet?
Thus concludes our auction for the Calcutta. We do have the raffle heifer coming up right now. We're going to get a look right here at the raffle heifer we're going to be talking about. Big thank you to Lost Creek Red Angus, Terry and Chris Pierce, and Alyssa and Ethan Herman of Mont, Montana for the donation of this year's raffle heifer. 100% of the proceeds from this raffle heifer will support the Merit Heifer program and provide scholarships and awards to former NILE Merit Heifer recipients. Win this fancy bred Red Angus heifer for just $10 a ticket. Buy them. They are way cheaper by the dozen.
Here she is, right here. She is, she's bred, she's exposed. She was exposed to 2 Red Angus bulls, and she going to calve April 1. She going to calve on the green grass, right there. I'll sell them $2,000 for her. I get paid $2,000 there too. 500. 100% goes to the NILE Merit Heifer program. Give me 200. 300. And down 3.5. Dwayne's in 3.5. And down 3.5. 350. Now 400. Might be the cheapest bred heifer you've owned this year, right here. 400. Now how? Jay, you're out. 4.5. Did you do it? Now 500. Now 500. Are you bidding, sir? 500. Now 550. 550. Now sold them $500. 500. And that buyer number? 78. 78. Okay, we'll sell it again. 200. 300. I got 200 bid. 2.5. Jay, what about you? Now 250. 300. Anybody else? Now 300. $300 there. Now 300. Sold it $250. 89. Anybody else want to give $200? 2.5. Nope. Sold again. 150. 200. How about 150? 150. Now 200. Sold it. 150. 77. Anybody else at 150? It's a bred heifer. The best 150 you ever spent in your life, I promise you. 150. Anybody else? Right there. What's her number? Well, then you got to get a name. What is it? Jeremy? There we go. Anybody else at 150? All right, we'll go again. 50, 75, 1, 100. How about to get a 1, 1, how about to get a 1 and 2, 102, how about to get 120, how about to find out 125, how about to get identified, sold at $100. 100. Anybody else? If you want to give $100, hold up your yellow buyer number. 85 at $100. Anybody else at 100? 76 at $100. 86 at $100. Anybody else want to buy some raffle tickets for $100? All right, we're gonna go one more time. 50, now 75, 50, now 75. Give me 50, 50, 50, $50 there now, 50. $50. Anybody else want to? Now 50, 50, now 75, now 5, now I sold at $50. Hold your tickets up if you want to give 50. 80? Anybody else want to do 50? All right, well, I think with that, they can go right over here to the girls over here, and you can buy as many tickets as you want right over here. Thank you to all you buyers, all you consigners on the NILE Mared Heifer, and good luck and best of luck to you guys.
Looky, looky, looky right here. We got almost $5,000 in the payout right here. It'll pay almost $2,000 to win this thing. A real. Thank you, Mr. Goggins. I'll give you a shout. Will do. Fantastic. Like I said, it's going to pay just about $2,000 to win this deal. We're paying 4 places. Yes, indeed. Pay over $1,400 to win second. Pays almost $1,000 to win third. If you're in this Calcutta, you want to have your chin on the top rail. This is about to get good. Let's bring in our Black Angus Class 1 right here. Hadley Cooper. Hadley Cooper with Basin Angus, the donor. Cale Cordell Horseshoe Angus Ranch is the donor. Hadley Counts. HC Cattle is the donor. Jordan Paul coming in here with Walburn Cattle Company, that donor. Samantha Prouty, the donor, is TM Livestock. Wiley Simonson, Hilltop Angus is the donor. Tia Venice, 3C Cattle Company, the donor. And Hunter Wilson comes with one donated by Spokane Hutterian Brotherhood.
So we kick things off out here in the Merit Heifer Show with the Angus division. A lot of depth and quality all the way through, and a lot of good females all the way through this class, and cattle that have the right functionality and the right type to go out and be productive cows for these young people. With that being said, though, I think there's one that really stands out from a productivity standpoint in my mind. Young lady's heifer that wins, she's a real brute. I love the body shape and the mass in that female. She's very productive in the way that she's designed in her skeleton. And although she's not just the most feminine fronted heifer out here, I still think that she balances extremely well, and she has such a maternal look and a maternal type to her. I think this heifer is going to be really fun to progress through this project with and be very competitive down the road. The heifer that's in second there is one that's much alike her in terms of that body shape. Another big-bodied, kind of bold-made type of a female. She's got some style to her, too. I like that about her. She really gets her head up high there, and the young man has done an awesome job of getting this heifer presented out here today. I think when you compare her to that brute that wins the class, she's maybe just a little straighter there in her hock structure, and that's where I get picky on that female. But everything else is right in line with that heifer that wins. That's a really nice pair at the top end of this Angus division. The heifer that comes out in third is one that is really long-bodied and very powerful. I like the dimension of this female. I like the muscle shape to her, and she gets out and moves just fine. On the stand, she's maybe just a little straighter and more upright. The angle of that shoulder maybe doesn't have quite the same balance, and I appeal that we get in those two heifers ahead of her, but still a very broody and productive type of a female that's going to have a good life as a cow. She's got the right parts and pieces there to be very productive. Heifer that comes out next, this fourth place heifer, is one that I could see some people maybe working up higher in the class. Because she's probably the showiest of all these cattle out here. She's got that extreme femininity up there through her front end, and he's obviously put a lot of time into brushing and blowing on this heifer, and it shows out here today. I'm proud of the work that he's put in. She's probably not quite my type. She's a little flatter and more peaked right in behind her shoulder. She wants to get awful easy there in that top line, and I don't think that she's got the power and the productivity that we find in those cattle ahead of her, but I sure like the eye appeal and all the hard work that young man's put into that heifer. Yeah, absolutely. Give him a big hand. He's done a great job. Young man's heifer that comes out next, a real moderate frame type of female. That's maybe what gets her in trouble compared to some of these higher performing cattle up ahead of her. I like the maternal shape to her head. I like the maternal shape that she has all the way through her body there. She's just not quite enough of her. In my mind, she's a little more on the small side. I don't know if she's got quite the power and all of that performance that we get in those cattle ahead of her. Nothing wrong with the heifer. She's just a little small for me. Heifer that comes out behind her is one that is just a little behind in terms of bloom. A little more time on feed, and I think this heifer could be the right type. She's really long-bodied. She's very athletic in her movement. She's just a little drier and shallower there in her body shape. And I think we could say the same for the remaining heifers. All heifers that are just behind a little bit in terms of their condition maybe need just a little more feed and a little more boldness to their center body to be more competitive with those heifers on up ahead of them. These kids are doing a great job. Let's give them all a big applause as they exit the ring.
Finishing in the top two spots right there out of that class number one, Cade Cordell with the Horseshoe Angus Ranch heifer, and Hadley Cooper finishes at the top of the class with the Basin Angus heifer. And again, a thank you to all of our donors and also to all of our showmen for doing what they have done so well. And as I have said at nauseum, the more young people that we can get involved in the ag business and livestock, the better our society will be. Let's welcome in class number two, Red Angus and Hereford. We're going to welcome in Violet Browning, her donor, Clumpine Red Angus. Also, Helly Houston, her donor, Redland Red Angus. Jaden Martin, the donor there, Christensen Red Angus. Weston Meneses. Well, the donation coming from Angelo Cattle Company. Garrett Burke, The donor there, Sidwell Ranch, Adeline Elverud, and that donor, Demert Ranch Herefords. And finally, Chloe Wardell, and that donor, Beery Land and Livestock. Class number 3, AOBs, you are on deck.
As painful as it is for me to admit, these two Hereford heifers are really nice out here. I'm just teasing a little bit. We raise Red Angus at home, so it was kind of painful to have to beat the Red Angus heifers. But these two Herefords are really nice. Good heifers. Young man's heifer that wins the class. There's just a lot to like about that one. She's dimensional. She's feminine. She's great in terms of her body shape. And she really supersedes everything in here on her feet and legs. That heifer can really get out and move really well. It just all fits together so nicely. That's a very high quality female. The heifer in second is the one that's the most like her. And specifically when we start to study those cattle on their feet, I think that she's another good productive type of a female that's really correct on her feet. She's a little straighter in the angle of that shoulder, and that's probably what gets her in trouble compared to that class winner. But everything from there back matches really well. She's really bold in terms of her rib shape. She's got some extra performance and power to go along with it. Red Angus heifer that follows her is one that I like. She's moderate in terms of her size. She's got a nice turn to her rib shape. She's a little heavier conditioned type of a female that's maybe not as genuine in terms of her muscle shape as those heifers in front of her, and that's probably what lands her in third. She's just a little more conventional in her look, a little more jammed up through that front end, and maybe just a little flatter on those feet. But nonetheless, I think she's going to be a very productive cow for the young lady. Heifer that comes in behind her is one that's got a little more stoutness. She wants to fight the halter a little bit out here, and that doesn't help her case. But when you really start to study her structure, I've got just a couple issues with the way she kind of twists on those two hind legs and just doesn't set down quite as comfortably as those cattle ahead of her. She kind of wants to pull up in her spine a little bit. But I think you guys from the outside can see there's plenty of performance in that female and plenty of stoutness. If we could tweak a few structural things, then I think she could make a case for running up there near the top. These three heifers that follow, they're good heifers, guys. They're a little greener in their condition. They don't have quite the same substance to them as those cattle ahead of them, and they just need a little more time to mature. They're all plenty functional in terms of their structure, and I think there's plenty of quality in these cattle. They just need a little more time to mature.
Your top two of the class right there from Beery Land and Livestock. Chloe Ward finishing in reserve, and Sidwell Ranch and Garrett Burkett finish at the top of that class. And again, thank you to all of our showmen and showwomen. Again, thank you to the donors that make this program possible. This is one of the most exciting, I think, programs in the industry right now. It's an absolutely wonderful way to get kids into the ag world. And as I have said ad nauseum, we need more young people in ag. Going to welcome in class number 3 now, our AOB class. Hahn Cattle Company and Cade Anderson. 333 Cattle and Madison Flowers. Quarter Circle Livestock and Brianna Hollingsworth. Prickly Pear Simmental Ranch and Ashut Jerky. Clarks Fork Angus and Simmental, Wade Kramer. Maple Leaf Cattle, Jerome Lip, and finally 2 Bar Ranch and Quentin Perkins.
this AOB class kind of gave us some differences in terms of type and kind, I guess, as you would expect with more crossbred type cattle out here. But the young lady's kind of yellow-colored heifer there, white heifer, if you will, that wins the class is awful nice. You know, she's not the fanciest up there through that front end, but like we've talked in other classes, I just like the productive look in that heifer. She's wide and she's genuine in the way that she's built. She's got an awesome rib shape in her. She's very powerful in the way that she's constructed. And on the move, I prefer her as well as any. And I think that's quite impressive for the amount of power that she has for her to be as athletic as she is and correct as she is on the move. That's a very nice heifer, young lady. The black heifer that comes in second, outside of her hawk shape and the way that she sets down on those hind two, is just like that one. A very bold and powerfully constructed type of a heifer with a great deal of performance. I think that she's got a very maternal look to her as well to go with that. Like I said, though, I just would like to change the way that she sets down on them rear, too. If we could soften her up and square her up there in that hock and the way that she sets down in her pastern, then I think that pair gets even closer and there's even more decision to be had. Heifer that comes out in third is kind of the odd man out of these top three. Very nice heifer. There's a lot of quality in her. She has plenty of body shape for where she is in terms of her maturity. Just compared to those other cattle, though, she just gets swallowed up. She lacks the performance that we find in those other cattle and the power that we get in those other cattle. Probably doesn't have quite as much rib to her today. On the standstill there, you like the balance and the eye appeal in the heifer. On the move, I'd probably still like to relax her in her spine and square her up just a little bit in her hock, but a very high-quality female. And once again, that young man does an awesome job of getting that heifer shown, and you could tell that he's put a lot of time into this project and definitely deserves some recognition for that. Heifer that comes out next is a moderate frame, kind of easy fleshing heifer. If we can modify her in the shape to her hip and pick her up in her pin set and just give her more balance through that rear third, then I think she too could be more competitive, because I do like the type she represents. She's as maternal in her look as any of them out here, especially up through that front 1/3. Just need to modify that hip a little bit. Young lady's heifer that comes next maybe lands a little more on the terminal looking side for my liking. She's just a little rounder in her muscle shape and maybe just a little more moderate in terms of her frame size and a little bolder about her face and her head. But nonetheless, there's a lot of bone and a lot of power in that female. And for all that mass, she still handles it relatively well there on the move. Red heifer that comes next is very fancy in her look. She kind of gave us some fits over there in the corner earlier, but she's just a little greener than these other cattle. She needs a little more feed and a little more maturity, and then I think that you can move her up the line as well. Same could be said for the black heifer that rounds things out, one that's just a little behind in terms of maturity and bloom today, but still a high-quality type of a female. Let's give all those kids a big hand as they exit the ring.
Congratulations to the top two in the class right there from Clark's Fork Angus and Simmental. Wade Kramer finishes in reserve, and Triple Three Cattle Madison Flowers finishes at the top of the AOB class. With that, we are going to bring back in the top two from each of those classes to make our selection for Grand Champion and Reserve Champion Merit Heifer. As they are coming back in, let's welcome Hadley Cooper with Basin Angus, Horseshoe Angus, and Kale Cordell. Those are our top two from the Black Angus class. From the Red Angus and Hereford, it's going to be the Sidwell Ranch and Garrett Burke, as well as Chloe Ward and Barry Land and Livestock. And finally, out of the AOB class, the reserve was Clark Fork Angus and Simmental, shown by Wade Kramer, and Triple Three Cattle Madison Flowers. Welcome back to the F-150 show ring. I'm going to tell you about your payoff right here in a minute. It's a pretty dang good one. Our grand champion tonight is going to get a buckle and $940. Our reserve gets $705. Third place will get $470, and fourth $235. And good luck.
So we get these 6 heifers back out here for this final drive of this Merit Heifer program. Well, what an awesome deal! This is neat. I'd never seen this, or I'd heard a little bit about it in the past, but never been here, never witnessed this for myself. And my favorite thing about this is just the community support that we've got around here. I mean, we've got so many people standing around here supporting these kids and helping them. And my hat's off to you, Shelby, for putting on such a great event. This is really cool. Got a nice atmosphere here. There's a little buzz in the air. We got nice music. It's kept everybody engaged, and it's a really fun deal. I really like this program. The little bit that I've been around it today, such a neat deal. You guys should be proud of these young people and the hard work that they've put in. And young people, you ought to be proud of what you're doing here, starting your own herds from scratch. As someone that started in the beef cattle business from scratch, there's nothing more rewarding and satisfying than doing that. It will be challenging at times. It'll be very frustrating at times, and very financially straining at times. But trust me, it's all worth it. You'll get to live a lifestyle that not many people do. The beef cattle business is an amazing place to be, and I'm sure proud of what you guys are doing out here. One more time, the heifers are starting to lay down on us here. I better not waste any more time. But let's give all the exhibitors a big hand tonight. My hat's off to you on a job well done. I'm going to go out and select your top 4 heifers.
Congratulations to Garrett Burkett and Sidwell Ranch, your grand champion Merit Heifer. And in reserve, Hadley Cooper, Basin Angus, congratulations. Congratulations to Triple Three Cattle and Madison Flowers, finishing in 3rd. And Cale Cordell finishing in 4th with Horseshoe Angus. Congratulations to all of our winners right there in the top 4. Again, just can't say enough about this fantastic program, about the donors, about the kids that participate. This is what is right with our world happening right here in front of us. Now for showmanship. We are going to bring in these following back tag numbers for showmanship. Number 12, number 15, number 21, number 10, number 3, number 4, number 20, number 1, number 11, and number 6. If we could, I'll read them to you again right here. Showmanship, we need back number 12, number 15, number 21, number 10, number 3, 4, 20, 1, 11, and 6. We are going to welcome back in our showman class right here. Number 12, 15, 21, 10, 3, 4, 20, 1, 11, and 6. Congratulations. Here's how that Calcutta ended up paying out. I'm going to go from bottom to top because it's fun as that away. Fourth place is going to go to Bob Redland and K2 Angus. That's a $495 bonus coming your way. Congratulations. Ranch House Sausage finishes third. They're going to get $990 for their trouble. Second place is going to go to Basin Angus. That'll pay $1,485. And Bar Star Cattle takes the top spot. Congratulations, $1,980 to win the Calcutta. Good work. If you would please, you can go to the table over here to get settled up. Table off to my right to get settled up. And also that donation heifer. I'll tell you what, a pregnant heifer in this day and age is worth a chunk of change. So if you could happen to get yourself a $10 ticket and win that heifer, that, my friend, is called good investing. So make sure you get yourself one, two, or a handful of those raffle tickets. Those tickets are still available for the heifer that we are going to be drawn for here in just a little while.
Hey, Doug, I just thought of something. I think you ought to charge for request on music. Okay? I'm going to start it off. How about some George?
Some George. I have George.
You know, $1 a song, $1 a song. We charge $1 and then we'll split it.
Sounds good, but you're the one making the request, so you got to pay. But I guess it's 50 cents to you. Mr. Straight coming up.
I'm going to give up my 50 cents and say I'm a traditional George. Jones?
I've got a George Jones in here somewhere that I don't think you may have even heard. I'm going to find it. What if I can pull this off? Not his most popular, Share Me, but one of my very favorites.
Folks ringside, I don't know that it gets much better than George, junior kid showing cattle, the NILE on a Friday afternoon. Let's put our hands together and show our appreciation. Crank her on up, Doug. That's all right. We're going to have a little bit of fun here, you 4 exhibitors. What we're about to do has nothing to do with your placing, okay? Nothing at all. And they're all looking at me like, yeah, right. Really, this has nothing to do, okay, with your placing. I'm going to ask you some questions, okay? Really, I believe questions and showmanship should be for like Quiz Bowl. I don't believe in asking questions and showmanship, but we're going to have a quick talk here. I promise you the question I asked, you cannot screw it up, okay? You want to take that bet? I'm going to win the bet, but you're going to take the bet, all right? All right, you're not going to miss the question. Okay? She's looking at me like, yeah, right. You sure? Positive? All right, I got this. You sure? Okay. What's your name?
Hadley Cooper.
All right, Hadley, she got it right. So we started off right. So Hadley, just a quick question for all the folks ringside, and you've had your merit heifer here for through this project. What's the number one thing you've learned? What's the most important thing you've learned with this heifer and through the whole entire merit project?
I don't know. I learned a lot. I don't know that I can pick like a most important thing, but I learned a lot about like the different aspects of the industry and like different types and ways to breed your heifer.
So different ways to breed your heifer. So she's bred, okay, made a decision. You remember what she's bred to?
She's bred to Basin Truget 1021.
And why?
He was calving-ease and had good EPDs, as well as I liked his phenotype. So.
Very good. Good job. So I'm done with the easy questions. You're in trouble, dude. If you hadn't noticed this guy, he has a smile that like just melts your heart. Okay? He's passionate out here. All you young ladies out here, you need to check out his smile. All right, buddy. It's just you and I. Have a quick talk.
Yeah.
Why are you shaking?
It's hot out.
Okay, you're doing a nice job. Don't shake. It's okay. So you're gonna fly somewhere next week. Okay, get on an airplane, get out of the great state of Montana, and you have a layover in DFW. You have your cowboy hat on, and you're in the airport. And there is this lady that comes and she sits next to you, and she is duded up. I mean, collar flipped up, gold jewelry everywhere. She looks at your hat and she says, I think cows are stupid. And I think everything they do for the environment is bad. What are you going to tell that hot lady?
That I think you're wrong.
Anything more than that?
And I would ask her why. That'd be the gist of it.
Says he'd ask her why. That's one of the things we need to do is when we engage with those folks is ask them why. Why do they have a disagreement with us in agriculture? Doug, I'm running out of questions here. I'm not running out of kids. I had a whole list of them over there. I forgot my list. So let me ask you this. Where are you from?
Sheridan, Wyoming.
Sheridan, Wyoming. Been there, actually. Yeah, nice town. I've always said when I retire, I might live there. Maybe I'll spend the summers in Sheridan. Let me change that. I'm from Louisiana originally. So same question, okay? But you're in high school. You're in a school event, and you go somewhere, and you have someone that's your age that says, I'm vegan. I'm a vegetarian, and I think what you do showing cattle is just out there. I don't think it's good. I'm somebody that I just think this whole agriculture thing is bad. What kind of conversation are you going to have with that person?
First, I would tell them that I respect their decision, that they can do what they want, and then I would just ask them why they think that and listen to what they have to say and give my side of the story as well.
You're out of luck because I'm running out of questions. I'm going to get my question list over here. Doug, you're supposed to help me out here. You're stuck. It's not often I'm at a loss for words. You're in luck. I picked up the wrong sheet of paper. So did you guys have a choice on the breed of heifer that you got to pick?
Yes, we did. We put it on our application to ask for our top 3 choices.
Okay. Why did you pick the breed of heifer that you picked?
So I picked a Maine Jew cattle because I've always kind of been interested in the breed, and I figured why not try it out. And I've watched many shows and saw that they've done well, but their maternal characteristics and just being good cattle and their terminal traits are also very well. So when I bring my heifer back home, I'm going to be able to turn her into a production-oriented cow, and just she'll be able to raise a good calf at her side.
Okay, very good answer. Next question. You're doing so well, I'm going to ask another one. So if there's some young folks ringside that maybe they're thinking that they want to do try for the Merit Heifer program, why should somebody apply for this program?
I think it's a great program, and you learn so many new things from EPDs and feeding advice and learning about bull selection and taking care of your heifer. But the main reason I decided to be in the NILE Merit Heifer program is to gain new connections in the industry. The industry is so large, and the more people you have on your side, the better off you are. So that's my advice, is why to be in the NILE Merit Heifer program.
Folks, put your hands together, show your appreciation for the future. Future's bright here in Montana and in the upper part of the U.S. in terms of young folks. And I do that, Shelby said you can ask questions if you wanted to, but I do actually do that a lot in contests. And here's why. You guys out here ringside, whether you know it or not, or you believe it or not, you are going to drive our future. And I'm a really, really strong proponent of folks ringside and folks in the ring. We have to be a voice for agriculture. And I ask those questions of these young people so that just to encourage them to have the confidence to go out and have conversations with consumers, with people in the community, because really it's time for us to step outside of our comfort zone in agriculture. We all know what the positives are about agriculture and about that we're stewards of the land and the positives of beef, etc. But it's time for us to go out and step out of our comfort zone and have those conversations with folks out and beyond. So if you're out, young folks and people ringside, and you meet with somebody that maybe they're not involved in day-to-day agriculture, don't be afraid to have those conversations, because if we don't have those conversations, sooner or later somebody's going to have those conversations with folks, and we may not like their side of the story. So please do so. With that said, I'm going to visit just a little bit about our showmanship winners. I watched the entire show here and pulled the numbers. And as your young folks come out here and they work through the cattle, it's very simple. I'm looking for someone who's very consistent, very professional in their demeanor, how they handle their show stick, how they work with that heifer, how they handle their hand, how they work within the ring. Are they making their corners square? Are they getting themselves in a bind, spacing, all of those kind of things. And it just kind of works into who makes the fewest mistakes and who surfaces to the top. Young lady making the turn with the Hereford heifer here. Congratulations, you're going to be fourth. Let's go ahead and pull your heifer here. You've done a nice job today. Gets pretty challenging after that in terms of making some hard decisions. And these cattle are getting tired. I understand that. Young man here with the blue shirt, you did a great job answering your questions. You're going to be third, and those questions had nothing to do with it, but you've done a great job showing today. Congratulations. Get down to two really, really solid showmen that have done an excellent job. They're extremely consistent. These two young people, if you watch them, they're confident. They've spent a lot of time with their cattle. They understand. They work as a unit together, and I appreciate that. Young man, you're going to be second. Young lady, you're going to be first. Congratulations to both of them.
Congratulations to our top four in the showmanship right there. Chloe Wardell coming in fourth, and third was J.J. Lip. Cale Cordell finishes in reserve, and our grand champion in the showmanship division. Congratulations, Hadley Cooper. We need our champions over to the backdrop for photos, please. Both from the Heifer Show and from Showmanship, we need our champions to the backdrop for photos. And we do want to invite in the 2024 recipients. Our 2024 NILE Merit Heifer recipients there. I got it out. If I call out your name and you're here, by all means come in. We'd love to see you. We'd love to have you in here. Olivia Corman of Bridgeport, Nebraska. Goverick Cattle Company of Ord, Nebraska is the donor there. And again, don't be shy. If I call your name and you're here, come a barreling on in. We'd love to see you. Aspen Courtney of Missoula, Montana. Wagon Wrench Cattle Company of Phillipsburg is the donor there. Stephen Gamble of Banner, Wyoming. Quarter Circle Livestock of Laramie, the donor. Jack Gillette of Roy, Montana. And Streamside Cattle Company of Manhattan, Montana, the donor. Aspen Hamilton of Worland, Wyoming. LB Farms of Powell, Wyoming, her donor. William Head of Ritchie, Montana. And Christensen Red Angus of Park City, Montana, the donor with William. Lily Johnson of Floyd, Montana. Mac Took of Ekalaka, Montana, the donor there. Matty Johnson of Susanville, California. And Select Cattle Company of Charlotte, Montana, the donor. Elizabeth Jordan of Elva, Wyoming. Doug Booth Family Angus of Torrington, Wyoming, that donor. Bailey Craft of Powell, Wyoming. L. Bar W Cattle Company of Zorkey, Montana, the donor there. Kaylee Learman of Filer, Idaho. Rimo Cattle Company of Bonners Ferry, Idaho, the donor. Mackenzie Mark of Hermiston, Oregon. Kessler Angus of Milton, Freewater, Oregon, the donor. Reagan Mayfield of Roundup, Montana. Sidwell Ranch of Columbus, Montana, the donor. April McCabe of Plentywood, Montana. And Nom Cattle Company of Lodgegrass, Montana, that donor. Emma Mix of Glasgow, Montana. Walburn Cattle Company of Hardin, Montana, the donor. Elizabeth Moak of Heifer, Montana. And K2 Red Angus of Wheatland, Wyoming, that donor. Claire Mernon of Pompey's Pillar, Montana. Sidbar Cattle of Hardin, Montana, the donor. R.V. Pauley of Miles City, Montana. Haven and Shelby Medjid, the donors. Tierra Rigby of Drummond, Montana. And Prickly Pear Simmental of Helena, Montana, the donor. Janae Roberts of Kevin, Montana. And 3C Cattle Company of Stevensville, Montana, the donor. Blair Sanchez of Burns, Wyoming. 333 Cattle of Cheyenne, Wyoming, the donor. Melody Starman of Carter, Montana. Diamond S Ranch of Ismay, Montana, the donor. Jacob Thoney of Brockway, Montana. Redland Red Angus of Heifer, Montana, the donor. Lexi Wickman of Moore, Montana. Barry Landon Livestock, the donor. And finally, Tassin Wright of Roberts, Montana. And Sokolowski Shorthorns of Pompey's Pillar, Montana are your donors. If we could get y'all right over here in front of the announcer stand, we'd like to get you lined up, get some pictures, etc. And young people, it is indeed so good to see you here. It is so good that you are interested, that you're involved in. You are the future of agriculture, and being the future of agriculture is a pretty hefty load to bear, but I'd have no doubt whatsoever that it is in good hands, being in your hands. I appreciate that you are willing to step up and be what our nation needs a whole lot more of. Thank you very much for coming in. Again, we certainly appreciate your willingness, and I wish you the very best of luck in your endeavors. Do want to give a shout out to our sponsors. They haven't got much airtime, but I'll tell you what, we wouldn't have been able to pull it off without them. Who wouldn't want more power to tow and haul on the job? The 2023 Ford Super Duty features strong performance with a powerful lineup of available engines. Don't settle for second best. When you can own a Ford, the best-selling truck in America for over 45 years, your local Ford dealer has a Super Duty for you. Go see for yourself. Phillips 66. At Phillips 66, we provide energy for life. More than 13,000 employees work safely and responsibly to process, transport, store, and market energy products. These products help to transport, feed, clothe, and care for society every day. You can learn more at Phillips66.com. Phillips 66, providing energy and improving lives. Thank you to Gen X for their generous donation of semen for the NILE Merit Heifer Program. Your support provides new pathways for each recipient as they move toward reaching their goals in the beef industry. Mars Livestock is a proud sponsor of the EID tags and stick readers used at the Northern International Livestock Exposition, combining truth test scales and readers, Z tags in J. Phillips, animal health, delivery products, and Speedrite and Patriot electric fencing. Mars Livestock provides integrated solutions to drive livestock performance through a data-driven decision-making. AgWest Credit Service. Each summer, AgWest Credit Services conducts farm visits to each of the NILE Merit Heifer recipients' homes to check on heifers and ask the recipient questions regarding their project. Thank you to AgWest Credit Services. Western Ag Network. The Western Ag Network proudly delivers the latest ag news and markets to 69 radio stations in Colorado, Montana, Nebraska, New Mexico, North and South Dakota, Utah, and Wyoming. It is home to the award-winning team of Russell Nimitz, Lane Nordland, and Haley Ship and Rachel Gable. That is Western Ag Network. Lost Creek Red Angus. A big thank you to Lost Creek Red Angus of Moult, Montana, Terry, Chris, Alyssa, and Ethan for their donation of this year's raffle heifer. 100% of the proceeds from the raffle heifer will support the Merit Heifer Program and provide scholarships and awards to former NILE Merit Heifer recipients. Win this fancy bred Red Angus heifer for a $10 ticket. And that heifer was exposed to Lost Creek A.E. Treadstone and C-Bar T. Seneca and is due to calve on the 5th of April, 2024. When you have a chance to support those good people that I just mentioned, please do so because they support ag, and that is what we need, is support for our ag industry. I believe we are at the backdrop for photos. What are we coming up to? And just as soon as they are done with the photos, we will have our progeny pin. So we will welcome back Shayla Russell, Alyssa Tomlinson, Taryn Cox, and Alexis Smeya. Back after photos. As you're finishing up at the backdrop, we need back to the show ring, please. Our progeny, Shayla Russell, Alyssa Thormelin, Taryn Cox, and Alexis Smaya. Back to the Ford F-150 show ring, please. Congratulations, finishing fourth in our progeny show, Shayla Russell. And third, it goes to Alyssa Thormelin. Our reserve champion, Taryn Cox. And congratulations to our grand champion, Alexis Smaya. A beautiful, beautiful job that you all did here over the last year with your heifers, and we certainly look forward to having you in the beef industry. That industry is much, much richer for your being in it, and thank you so much for the work that you put in to your heifers. Thank you, ladies. Now, if we could get our 2023 recipients into the ring, please. Again, if we could get all of the 2003 recipients into the ring, please. First of all, before we hand out the awards, would you all please give these good gentlemen and ladies a round of applause for what they have accomplished over the past year? As I have said again ad nauseum, we are desperately in need of fine young men and women in our industry, and before us stands 23 of them. And it is indeed a pleasure to have them here with us. We will get right to our awards then. Your top record book award goes to Tia Vitas, with 3C Cattle Company being the co-donor. And the top interview, congratulations goes to Garrett Burkett. And finally, the Top Herdsman Award. Congratulations for an incredible amount of work and efficiency put together by Tia Venice, 3C Cattle Company, the donor. If we could get everybody crammed back together here, maybe we can get some down in front on a knee and some behind. We want to get a picture of all of you, and thank you all so very much for being a part of what this world needs, a part of what is right in a rather upside-down world. And just a quick reminder to you that Angus Futurity is going to happen in just over a half an hour, 5 o'clock, right here, your Angus Futurity. We are going to draw for this raffle heifer right now. I am reaching in, mixing, and stirring. Trying to find just the right one. I'm looking. Whoop, there it is. I got the right one right here. Miles T. Happy campers right there. Miles T. Got your phone number, but I don't think we need it. Congratulations, that's a pretty dadgum day. Good day right there. A pretty dang good day.